Warning. The following video is most likely unrelated to all previous and future videos on this channel. Subscribe at your own risk. Smashing that like button may cause irreparable damage to your YouTube algorithm and expose you to unexpected and whimsical content. Today's video topic is having more fun while you don't get stuff done.
Welcome back to the channel, Doomscrollers. In case it wasn't clear from the introduction, the theme of this channel is that there is no theme. I post whatever I want 3 times a month. And since you all found the first video so inspiring and thought it would help you with your productivity, naturally I decided that the best topic for this second video would be how to procrastinate but have more fun while doing it. And that's why I want to talk to you about a puzzle game I've been obsessed with lately called Thinky Dailies. I really think they give the New York Times a run for their money, and the best part is, it's not just another word game. Now don't get me wrong, I love the New York Times offerings just as much as the next person, and I've been playing Wordle from the beginning, back when it was just this beautiful passion project, a simple website known as Wordle by Josh Wardle, before the New York Times bought it from him and made him a millionaire overnight. But that doesn't mean I'm particularly good at it, as you've likely just observed, nor that I play it every day anymore. To me, it's sort of a bittersweet memory of the pandemic era, kind of like the Tiger King. It's something we all experienced together at the same time, but it's time to move on now. There is still one game from the New York Times that I do play every day. In fact, one of my professional goals for this channel is to become big enough that I can challenge Hank Green to a Connections Duel live stream. I like finding the purple first, I like chasing that elusive reverse rainbow. To me, Connections is still an S-tier level game. Though I don't know that Connections counts as a word game in the traditional sense. And I also still really enjoy Strands. I don't play it every day, but more like once a week. And I really have no complaints about this game. As far as a word search goes, it's the best in the market. But to me, it's kind of like saying that you have the best turkey sandwich on the planet. Like at the end of the day, it's still a turkey sandwich. I do have one beef with the New York Times about Strands. It's clearly stated in the How to Play section that you can make words with this diagonal pattern, like lime instead of mile in this example. But I have never seen a puzzle where this was actually utilized. So why have that as an option if you're never going to use it? But I digress. This video is supposed to be about Thinky Dailies, and the best part about these puzzle games is that it's not just another word game. And the New York Times really has nothing to offer like that. Tiles is now hidden behind a paywall, Pips has always been boring as hell, and Sudoku, I mean sure, everyone loves Sudoku. If you're on an intercontinental flight and you've got 20 hours to kill, or if you're in a hospital waiting room and you need to turn your brain onto something that isn't worrying about your loved one who's in surgery. When I'm retired and in my golden years and I can spend 3 hours at the breakfast table slowly eating a bowl of Raisin Bran and draining a pot of coffee. If I were Mike Ehrmantraut and I had to sit all day in a parking garage ticket booth and my only real hobbies were playing Hungry Hungry Hippos with my granddaughter and cold-blooded murder, then sure, I might crack open a Sudoku. But the whole point of Sudoku is that it's supposed to take a long time. And what I want from a free daily puzzle game is at least the illusion that I'm only going to spend 2 to 5 minutes on this thing before going ahead and getting my stuff done. And that's precisely what Thinky Dailies has to offer us. Sometimes they actually do have what they call irregular Sudoku puzzles, which have fewer numbers and extra hints so that you can solve them quickly. So if you like Sudoku, I think you'll enjoy Thinky Dailies. It's also exposed me to a bunch of other Japanese puzzles I'd never even heard of like Akari and Shikaku and Sukuro. And there's a nice variety. They don't usually give you the same type of puzzle on 2 consecutive days. So if you don't like one or if it's too hard for you, you can ask for hints and know that the next day will be a new adventure. The other unique thing about Thinky Dailies is that there are these cute illustrations and this overarching narrative that connects the puzzles together. So right now we're in the middle of Season 2, but for Season 1, to solve that final puzzle, you actually had to go back and look at some of the illustrations and answers to the previous puzzles in order to solve it. But my absolute favorite thing about this game is that every 10 days or so, there will be this unique, beautifully illustrated visual puzzle handcrafted by the creators that's really unlike anything I've seen elsewhere. You just have to look for a while at the picture and gather clues to even figure out what you're supposed to do in order to solve it, but there are hints if you get stuck. And I think there's a really nice balance in the variety of styles between the games from day to day. Because if we had to do one of these each day, not only would it be hard for the creators to keep coming up with ideas, but it would take too much time. We'd fall into that Sudoku trap. Again, I need the illusion that I can solve this in 2 to 5 minutes. And for most of the daily games I can, but these often take a bit longer. So I had noticed back on the 15th that they released another one of these visual puzzles I really enjoy, and I'd been saving it until I had time to record myself playing through it for y'all. So, spoilers ahead, you might want to look down in the description and click to the next part of this video if there's a chance you might want to play through this one yourself someday. But it is a good chunk of the way through Season 2, so if you start off at Season 1, there's a chance you might have forgotten some of the details by the time you get to it yourself. Alright, so if you do decide to play this, then you'll start off in Season 1, and you'll actually have one of these fun visual puzzles on the third day. You can see that there were 61 puzzles in Season 1, and I think there's going to be the same number in Season 2. Yeah, 42 solved, plus 6 would be 48, plus 13 is, 61. So we're going to scroll down to day 43. You can see the ones you've completed are kind of in color, and then the ones that are not yet done are washed out, almost black and white. So we're on puzzle number 43 of Season 2. And this is the little narrative. It doesn't usually seem to matter much for the puzzle, although sometimes you have to look back at what those say to solve the season finale. All right, so just start kind of looking for clues. It tells you the rules here, which just basically says to look for clues and make connections, that there might be a few red herrings, that there might be multiple steps. And most importantly, if your answer seems like gibberish, it's probably not correct. And if you get stuck, you can start clicking on hints, but let's just see what we notice. So something I'm noticing right off the bat is that it's very symmetrical. So we've got 2 columns here. They both start with something that's underlined, and then they have 5 words. These words are numbered, and the number is not what you expect. It's 1, then goes down to 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like the solution, the answer is going to be a word, so it's only allowing us to input letters. So those numbers are going to help us find the letters we need, but there won't be any numbers in the actual answer. All right, so botany at the top, and then B equals Y. So that kind of makes me think of that classic alphabet cipher, where you take the first letter A of the alphabet and make it equal to the last letter Z. So let's go ahead and make that. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So again, here we have B equals Y, A equals Z, B equals Y, just like the animal, the letter B in this clue. But what are we decoding with this cipher if that is accurate? Like if we did the word botany, then that would be B equals Y. The O would be L, and that already does not look like a word. G, A is Z, definitely not looking good for us here. N is M, and Y would be B. So again, remember it says that if your answer sounds like gibberish, then it's probably not correct. And that wouldn't really make sense because then we'd only be using like this information on the top row, but obviously we need to, even though not everything is important, something else on here is important in the picture or in these other words. All right, so what if we said the first letter of our answer was the first letter of this word next to the number 1, but using our cipher? What would that be? So if the first letter is whatever the cipher tells us for L, then that would be O. And then the second letter down here, whatever R should be, that would be I. Those are both vowels. That's interesting. The third letter for F, U, another vowel. Fourth letter S. See, now that's going to be H, though. And then the fifth letter F would be... Wait. Oh, yeah, because we have 2 Fs for fruit and flower. So we're going to be back to a U again. Again, sounds like gibberish. So something else going on. Something I'm immediately noticing is that none of these words start with vowels. We need some vowels to make it answer. And again, it's very symmetrical, so On the left side, we have a bee, 2 flowers, a leaf, a bee, 2 tomatoes, a leaf, and a bee. It's almost like binary code, 1, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and write that down. Got 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1 on the left side. And on the right side, we have 1, 1, 3, 4. I don't know. You count the 3 flowers and then the bee. So that's maybe nothing. And then I guess that bee is above the tomatoes. So yeah, I'm not sure how those numbers would help us. We have lots of 1s and 2s. We only have one set of 3, and I don't see any 4s or 5s. If we're assuming that those correspond to those numbers somehow. And we've got a root, and it's hard to tell if the 3 roots should count for the left side or the right side, or if maybe these 2 count for the left side and that one counts for the right side. Or maybe this is all nothing. Who knows? That's the fun. But yes, I'm noticing a dearth of vowels, so that's going to be a problem. Okay. Diagram shows wild tomato sprig. Botany. B equals Y. Okay, so what if we need to take that a little bit more literally? It's not the words, but it's the actual pictures that correspond to letters. So if B equals Y, what would leaf equal? What would flower equal? Stem, fruit, and root. Okay, B equals Y, but maybe B and the letter Y aren't part of the answer. The answer is whatever letter corresponds to leaf first, and then whatever letter corresponds to root, and then fruit, stem, and flower. So how do we find out what letter is for leaf? And we probably need to use some information on the left side here to figure that out. Oh, wait a minute. Tomato, fruit, sprig, maybe stem. But I don't know which of those would be for leaf, flower, and root. You know, I've been saving this puzzle for days because I wanted to solve it on camera, but now I'm worried I won't be able to do it before I have to go to work. I could use some of the hints, but I really want to solve it without doing that. What else do we have? Whoops. All right, so the first letters of all the words are all consonants. I suppose that the answer could be 5 words instead of just 5 letters, but I don't think it can be, because if we just use this B equals Y cipher, I think it's very unlikely that they would have been able to find 5 words that correspond to the plant that aren't nonsense, that also lead to no nonsense clues. So, but let's try it. What would L be if we're doing the whole word leaf? L would be O, E is V. Yeah, that's not looking good. A is Z. No, of course not. And then F is U. So obviously that's not going to work. So we've got groups of numbers for the different things, but they don't correspond to these numbers 1 through 5. Look, we've got 1 bee, 1 leaf, 2 flowers, 3 flowers, 2 tomatoes, 2 tomatoes, 2 tomatoes. If we count all of them together, we've got 5 flowers, we've got 6 total tomatoes, 4 leaves, 6 bees, but the bees aren't part of the answer maybe. 3 roots, 1 stem, but then 6 fruits or 6 tomatoes. And again, I'm still trying to figure out what we would do to use information on the left, assuming that not everything on the left is a red herring. Okay, we've got fruit and tomato. So 3 equals fruit equals tomato. But then what would the others correspond to? Sprig would be, is a sprig specifically a leaf or like a stem? Let's say it's the leaf. Okay. And then that would leave us with wild, shows, and diagram. Wildflower. Diagram. Shows and diagram. I guess if all we have left is stem and root at that point, a diagram, roots look more like a diagram than just a stem does. So maybe 2 equals root equals diagram and stem. Was that number 4? Stem 4 equals stem equals shows, because the roots are hidden and the stem is the part of the plant that shows. I mean, so do the flower and the leaf, but I guess a stem and a root are more like opposites than those other things are. All right, so if we assume then that we're talking about the first letter, so of these words. So 1 is the first letter in our answer, but it's not leaf, it's sprig. So that would be S. So first letter would be S. And then the second letter wouldn't be root, it would be diagram. Oh, and sorry, we need to then use our cipher probably, right? So first letter is not S, but H. Second letter, root equals diagram. D, what would our cipher be? W, this is not looking good. Third letter, fruit, but not fruit, tomato. T, G, yeah, this is going to be nonsense. Fourth letter, stem, shows, which is still an S, which would be an H. And then fifth letter, flower, wild, which would be D. Yeah, that's gibberish. Still no vowels. Still have absolutely no idea. Okay, so this is future me. I'm wearing a different shirt now. I did end up having to go to work before I could solve this, and I tried to glance at it and think about it in between calls. One thing I noticed is that botany begins with B and ends with Y. And then over here we have the B equals Y. So that made me wonder if each row is a different cipher, like D equals M, S equals S, which I guess would just be the normal alphabet. W equals D, T equals O, and S equals G. So I did play around with that a little bit with these ciphers where I have the alphabet on one row, and then you just, move the M to where the D is for diagram, and then kind of when you get to Z, you just start over with A based on where you end up when you kind of shift the alphabet over. So I tried that and played around with different possible combinations of these numbers and first letter of the word. I also tried things like, maybe it's the first letter of leaf using the diagram cipher or the B equals Y cipher. Maybe it's the fifth letter of flower using the S equals S cipher, that sort of thing. And so you can see everything I came up with was still gibberish. So normally I'd like to just kind of carry this around for a couple of days and think about it and try to solve it on my own, but I do need to release this video today, so I think I'm gonna break down and look for some hints. So we've got, yes, we're looking for a word. Already knew that. Thanks. B equals Y suggested the B's represent the letter Y. So we should figure out how to convert other things in the diagram to letters to build a word. Yep. There's no natural connection between B's and the letter Y. The heater kicked on, and I'm sure that is too loud for the microphone. Computer, turn off Mr. Freeze. All right, there is no natural connection between B's and the letter Y. So what other part of the puzzle could the Y have come from? Okay, that's interesting. Well, from the first and last letter is what I thought. I guess a Y, it's kind of like a branch, but the B is not a branch, so yeah. But like the root kind of makes a Y shape, but I don't think that's what they're talking about. I mean, I think I was on the right track with the first and last letter of botany. Notice how the text on the left and the labels on the right seem to align neatly in rows, even including the underlining in the first row. Yep, got that. Botany contains a Y. But why do the B's correspond to Y specifically, not any other letter in botany, because it's at the end? See, I'm so close. How many B's are there? Oh. Okay, so it's not just the last letter always. It's the sixth letter of botany because there are 6 B's. Okay. There are 4 leaves. So the 4th letter of leaf. Wait. So are we saying the 4th letter of leaf is F, or are we saying L equals F? How many roots are there? There are 3 roots, and the 3rd letter in root is O. So root equals O. YF Fesfo. So fesfo is not a word, and efesfo is not a word. Wait, okay. But B equals Y because of botany. So, yeah, okay. So we need to count the objects, but then that helps decide what the secret letter is on the left side of the puzzle. Because B equals Y, there are 6 B's, and Y is the 6th letter of botany. Okay, so there are 4 leaves, and the 4th letter of diagram is G. There are 5 flowers, and the 5th letter of shows is S. There's 1 stem, and the 1st letter of wild is W. There's 6 fruits, and the 6th letter of tomato is O. And then there are 3 roots, and the 3rd letter of sprig is R. GSWOR. It's really Y. Okay. But then if we rearrange these, so leaf, swarg. Wait, no, the 3rd. 4 leaves. 4th letter of diagram is G. And then we should go down to root, maybe. 3 roots. 3rd letter of sprig is R. 6 fruits. 6th letter of tomato is O. Grows. Or just grow. Yeah. 1 stem, 1st letter of wild is W. And then 5 flowers, 5th letter of shows is S. And then we finally have a word that makes sense, that fits. It's a word, first of all, and then it fits with the puzzle. So I'm pretty sure that's correct. Haha! All right. Man, I don't know if I would have gotten there. I was close. I was on the right track. But I should have trusted my instincts. I said before, you don't often have to have outside knowledge to solve these. And so probably all that time I spent on the ciphers was just time wasted, because in the end, you didn't need to write down the alphabet and move letters around and stuff to figure it out. All the information you needed was in the picture itself. So that was fun. Yeah, I feel like I don't know that I agree that it was only a 3 on the puzzle difficulty. I do think maybe it's a little harder to work under pressure when you're on camera. And so if I had not been trying to make this video, I probably would have just, sat around with it, mulled over it for a few days. But again, the hints are there if you ever need them. Okay. So probably not the best example of a non-Sudoku-like puzzle, because that actually did end up taking me a long time. But, normally they don't take nearly that long. So here, let's see what the next days is. All right, what is this? This is a shikaku. So these are the ones where you have to make rectangles that fit the numbers in the circles. So I'm pretty sure that's 6. The only way that would work would be like that. Oh, wait. Okay, the only way you can have a rectangle of 7 is to have a long skinny one, which makes sense, because then you've got to have the 2s and the 5s that are also skinny. What's up? I forget what the numberless dots mean. They can only have one circle. Must be rectangular, square. Okay, circles without numbers can be contained in a region of any size. Okay. Probably it's going to be that long rectangle there, right? So the 3 has to either be like that or like that, because that's the only way to make a rectangle out of a 3. This one can't be with the 8. So I'm thinking that that's not an option. I think our 8's going to have to be like that. Yeah, there we go. And then the 4, and then that one makes the 5. See, so that one didn't take very long at all. Most of them are like that. It's just these more difficult visual puzzles that usually take a long time. So for those of you who are still in school, I know that you probably have some big papers and projects due pretty soon. Maybe don't start playing Thinky Dailies right now, since as we've seen, it can take a couple hours to finish one occasionally. In fact, watching this video counted as your procrastination break, okay? Log off now. Maybe watch one more of my videos first, but after that, that's it. Log off. You're done. Get your stuff done. Now, do it! But if you are in your golden years and you're trying to ward off dementia with a daily puzzle game, or you're working in a ticket booth at a parking garage, the link to Thinky Dailies is down in the description below. And let me know in the comments if you have another favorite daily puzzle game, even if it's a word game. I'm always looking for new reasons not to get my stuff done. So until next time, Doom Scrollers, remember this. If you're going to procrastinate, at least make sure you're having fun while doing it.